every leader has their part of this ministry, but they have to get their key leaders in the room. That's why you can't just pick your key leaders and do a great strategy. You have to coach that next level to make sure before they start strategizing to identify what leadership positions they have and fill those and get those people in the room strategizing, because if they don't build it with you, they don't own it. The key to commitment is involvement. Okay, this is so important. So we need people on this team. Let's talk about your personal team. People with the key information. Some people have the right information, some people don't. Sometimes we need somebody, like when we're working and strategizing for the church, we need somebody that knows what the calendar looks like for the whole church. We need people that know what rooms and sanctuaries are available at what time. We need people that can pull it up, because we're kind of stuck in our strategy if we don't have the information, right? So we need people with the right information. We need people that have influence. We need people who are faithful. We need people who will take responsibility. In other words, we don't just want a bunch of smart people in the room, but when it comes down to the end of this and we're all deciding who's going to take what part, people go, oh yeah, I can't really do anything. I just want here to help you guys, figure it out. Oh, so you can't tell us what to do. No, we need people that are not only going to interject and be part of the multitude council, but we need some people that will take something on their shoulders and walk away with it. See what I'm saying? So we as leaders need to know that up front. I've got to have people that are willing, and so you're going to ask them, say, hey, and would you be willing to be on this team and to take one of these major pieces and take responsibility for it? And if they say, right now I just can't do anything, well, there is a slight chance that you may still want them to be there because of their information, but really you're looking for the people that can help build it and carry it. See what I'm saying? Okay. So, take responsibility, and remember the goal is that your team develops multiple teams. Now you want to plan a sufficient amount of concentrated time. I would say a minimum of 4 hours to a day and a half. When I was a national youth minister, we had developed an approach to youth ministry called U-Turn. And sometimes a senior pastor would invite me to come out and to help strategize for their whole church this approach to youth ministry. A large approach to reach a lot of kids and disciple them for youth ministry. So I would go out and do that. And they would ask, how much time should we take? And I would tell them, well, we could probably do it in a Friday night and all day Saturday. And they'd look at me like, really? Like, do we need that much time? Well, let me ask you, Pastor. Like, you want this to be a really large and effective youth ministry to reach, evangelize kids, disciple them and such? Oh yeah. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. Because see, we have to map it all out and see where we're going and how we're going to get there. Sort of build it before it gets built. It's like the blueprints, right? We're going to be the architects. And we're going to get all the blueprints out here of how this thing's going to be built so that we see it. Now when we go talk to people, we're all talking off the same blueprints. But if they didn't build it, if we don't build those blueprints together, we all have a different picture in our hearts. Because somebody's got these little 10-minute conversations of what it looks like, and everybody's seen something different. I remember I think it was in the 70s. Does anybody remember what year Disney World in Florida opened? 71. I remember when Disney World opened and they were having the grand opening celebration and such. By that point, Walt Disney had already died. And so they invited Mrs. Disney in a certain part of the celebration in Walt's stead to come up and to address everybody. And so as she was making her way to the podium, the person that had introduced her just said to her, Mrs. Disney, I just wish Walt could have seen this. And she simply replied, he did. Isn't it true that if he didn't see it, nobody else would? So you as a leader and your leaders need to see it before it ever starts to be built. Because otherwise, we don't know how we're building it. Can you imagine trying to build a house and you get the concrete guys coming to bring the concrete to pour the foundation? Come on, back her up. Beep, 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 beep. All right, where are we going to pour it? Let's see. You don't have any forms? Where do we want that foundation? But just start pouring out over here, right in this area, you know. How big is it? Pretty big, pretty big. How many rooms you got? 3 or 4. Why don't we do 5? Do 5, you know. Can you imagine trying to do it like that? No, listen, you've got to have this thing mapped out. You've got to have the forms all in place. Somebody's got to do that groundwork. So when you start bringing other people in to bring the foundation and the concrete and such, you know exactly how big this thing's going to be. See, it's so important. So important. Okay, now let's talk about preparing the materials. How about a flip chart and some colored markers? Now, why is that? Why not a whiteboard? Because it gets erased. And I know somebody's going to say, well, yeah, but we take notes so we don't lose it. That's good. But how big is the paper that you're taking notes on? Because as we're going through this strategy between 4 hours and a day and a half, we're going to have to refer back to parts and say, oh, you know what we talked about yesterday? That's not going to work. Let's go change that. Okay, how do we change it? Well, we've already erased all that. Well, I got it on my little paper. Let me see. Flip through. Oh, is this it? No, that's not. Oh, where was that? Where was that? Right? And we're all trying to. You know what were we talking? Where were we talking about that just before we ordered pizza? Right? Man, everybody's got this scrambled mess inside their head. Okay, but if you got it on flip chart pages, and you're tearing them off and posting them around the wall, then you just say, oh yeah, where we got? What we got? Oh, right here. There it is, right? Is that it? And somebody, oh no, then that one next. Okay, yeah, there it is. Take your pen, you scratch out what you did, and you change it. Everybody can see it, you visualize it, it's right there. Got that? Okay. So not a whiteboard, but a flip chart. Okay? Now, why colored markers? I can't verify this, but I've been told that colors stimulate creativity. Now, I do know that it helps you when you're going from segment to segment of your strategy to put, for example, all of your desired results in one color, your major pieces in another, your minor pieces in another, and then visually you can see the segments of the strategy. I think that's good. But I've also heard it stimulates the creativity. So there you have that. Tables and chairs arranged for both viewing and discussion. If you're going to have a flip chart, like we would never do a strategy in theater style like this. See, because the front would be talking to people in the back. You know, that just doesn't work. So we'd sit more in, a lot of times we'll do a U-shaped with long tables, and everybody would sit on the outside of the tables. The flip chart would be in the front and the center. And so we're all sort of facing each other in the flip chart. Okay, so you want to have all that prepared so that it makes for a good discussion and good vision to the flip chart. Snacks, water, you know, it helps so much to have snacks, doesn't it? Sometimes, I mean, somebody, you know, we talk about people that have ADD. I think everybody does a little bit. It's hard to just focus constantly. But you got some nuts there, something to nibble on. Sometimes all right, I'm all right for another 10, 20 minutes, right? And it just helps, okay? Scotch tape. These particular pads here have sticky stuff on the back. There's the best ones are Post-it. They're made by Post-it, okay? They're the best ones, but they're the most costly too, okay? These are the more generic version with the sticky. Sometimes they don't stick on certain paints as well. Okay? Let's talk about the technique of mind mapping. Mind mapping. Everybody get a blank place on your notes. You can turn the whole thing over if you want to. And I want you to do something. And I want to do it very quick. Okay? Here's what I want you to do. Let's see. In the center of a big white space, I want you to write colors and circle it. Colors. Okay? Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to draw a line out and write a color. Like, here's red. Okay? Draw another line. I want you to write as many colors as you can before I say stop. Okay? So now you'll draw another line out here, and you may put blue on that. Okay? As many colors as you can. Ready? Go. Okay, stop. How many did you get? What did you get? 8. 8. Everybody got 8? 10. 12. What is it? 11. Okay. Let me tell you what this is all about, okay? It's all about. If you got 10 or more, you have creative ability. I'm totally lying. Has nothing to do with what we do. Sounds like a self-assessment test, doesn't it? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Ready? Watch this. Watch this. I want you to put numbers next to these colors based on your favorite to least favorite. Your favorite is number 1. Don't overthink it, okay? Just your favorite is number 1. Your least favorite would be the last number. Go. I'm only going to give you like 15 seconds. Okay. You can stop. However far you got, that's enough. Now, let's look at this now. The technique of mind mapping. Linear writing flows in one direction. Linear, right? Like this, or like this. Linear means it all flows one direction. 3 common ways of writing linearly. One is outline form, right? Roman numeral 1, subpoint capital A. And then underneath that, number 1. Underneath that, little, lowercase a. Thank you. All right, so that's outline form. Then there's bullets. You either have just the dot, or you've got arrow, or you've got check. Those are bullets, right? Then 3, paragraph form. I don't know about you, but when people email me and they have questions to ask, please do not use paragraphs. Because then when I get done reading the whole thing and have the understanding, the context of it, now I got to go back and read it again because I'm picking out those questions. But if you write it in numbers or bullets or something, then you know all of these numbers and bullets have to have an answer, so you can quickly go back and just get to them. Okay, so each linear style has a benefit and a disadvantage. Okay, but I'm going to suggest to you that when you are strategizing, you not use any of these linear styles. And here's why. It requires sequential thinking. A linear style requires, or at least encourages, sequential thinking. And it discourages random thoughts or brainstorming ideas. As opposed to that, mind mapping flows in many directions. It embraces a first capture and then organize approach. It allows random thinking and ideas, and it encourages creativity, and it accommodates afterthoughts and forethoughts. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I would have taken a blank sheet of paper, like let me We just draw a line here, and I would put number 1 right here. Let's list out your favorite colors in order. Well, you'd have started thinking, okay, well, I already know my favorite color, and that is, for me, it's green. Not because of money. Okay? Then you're thinking, what's my next favorite color? Yeah, well, what do you think? What are the options? Right? And so you're scrambling around in your peanut brain, all these colors, and trying to think, well, which one do I like the best? Okay, well, I think I do. I like blue the second best, right? And can you imagine when you get about 4 or 5 colors down the line, you're thinking, well, wait a minute, are we talking about primary colors, or are we talking about, shades? And okay, that's so difficult, so time consuming for an individual. Imagine when you have a whole group of people there, and when you write in a linear style, and you start from the top of the page, and you say, for example, hey, what are all the pieces that we're going to have to consider in approaching this ministry? And somebody will say, well, the first thing we need to approach, and okay, that's good. It's first in their opinion, right? But you just threw off the discussion because somebody said, well, I don't think so. I think first we got to work on the administrative side of it, or the organizational side of it. Somebody goes, oh, no. Prayer is always first, right? Somebody else might say, I think even before we pray, we should just thank God. Now you're into a whole discussion. You're into a whole discussion on what's first. All you're trying to figure out is, hey, what are the parts, right? But because you started in a linear style, everybody's trying to think, what is the sequence? Don't worry about the sequence. If you can just get it up on the page, it's easier to order. Everybody see that? But it's hard to order in here, especially when in here looks different in everybody's minds. See what I'm saying? So what I'm encouraging you to do is when you strategize, don't use a linear style. Use a random style like mind mapping. Here, take another blank on your page. Let me show you what I mean. Quick. Ready? I want you to write, this is going to go in the circle in the middle, I want you to write roles. R-O-L-E-S. Roles. R-O-L-E-S. Okay? Put your first line out there, and I want you to list about 5 of your roles. Okay? For me, I'm a Christian. I'm also a husband. I'm a father. I'm a pastor. So on. Okay? Ready? All your roles. Go. Just write them. No. Not on one line. Draw one line to begin with, and then do 5. Get 5 roles. All right, now you see how fast that goes when you don't have to do them in order? If you would have started at the top of the page and worked down, your mind would have naturally thought, what's next? Instead of, what's another one? And our minds don't always think sequentially. We just think. Thoughts just come. Now watch this, okay? Now that we just wrote them down on the paper, there they are. Now you can look at them. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to use numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want you to number these based on their importance. Ready, go. Just quickly, it's just an exercise. Got it? Okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to use letters, A, B, C, D, E. Okay? And I want you to use letters to sequence them based on when you assume that role. Some of you, if you have a marital status, you were married before you got saved. Some of you were saved before you got married, okay? So just use A, B, C, D, E and sequence them by when you assume that role. Okay? How many of you can see that once you have it on paper, it's so much easier to organize. Can you see that? But if you're trying to organize it while you're writing it, it just delays everybody. And when somebody says, oh, this, somebody else says, oh, no, that's not next. Instead of saying, hey, throw it up there, we'll organize it after. So mind mapping allows and encourages just to think and just to express creativity. Once we get it up there, we can all see how we can organize it, and it goes very quickly. Make sense? Okay. Now, key strategy elements. Did I give you a list? Okay. Now, I wish we had time to really detail this out, but again, this is an overview. This list of strategy elements that has 7 elements is exactly the way that we strategize. This is how we strategize every new ministry. This is how we strategize every new campus, every new congregation that we launch. In fact, I'll tell you this. This is exactly how we strategize the Rock on January the 9th of the year 2000. When I got my leaders in the room, we used this identical breakdown in that exact sequence. And we strategized the Rock with about 10 people in the room. And out of that came the thousands and thousands of people, 10 congregations. In a few weeks, it'll be 11 congregations using that exact strategy. And we use it over, over, and over, and it works every time. Okay? So rather than having you write it all out, I just printed it out for you. There it is. Okay, so let's just look at it. Like I said, when we get to level 3, we're just going to take our time and we're going to sit on strategy and we're just going to talk it all through. Somebody says level 3. But I asked my team, should we take each one of these, like start level 1 with direction and then level 2 with strategy, or should I give everybody the overview of everything at the beginning so that they don't have to wait for the key elements and we can come back and break them down? And almost unanimously, all of our top leaders said, make level 1 the overview and give it all to them, and then you can come back and break it down. So what that does is it delays the parts, but it gives you all the information up front, even if we don't take the time to break it all down. Okay, so desired results. You know what that is? That's direction. That's direction. Don't start strategizing till you know what you're after. And let me just give you one quick tip on desired results. We're not talking about just goals. We're talking about desired results, and they're a little different. Okay? For example, say you're going to plan a church picnic. And somebody says, okay, what are our goals? Okay, and so maybe you map out some goals. Well, you know, our church is running now. You know, we've been doing it for a couple of years, so we got a couple hundred people. Man, it'd be great to have at least half